about a week after they brought the mirror home, they were starting to experience like a lot of activity. And I'm talking like their Comcast cameras caught the activity on camera. Their kitchen cabinets, they would leave the room, come back in. Every cabinet in the kitchen would be opened. All the drawers opened.
Oh, that would be so
One
terrifying.
time she caught all of her furniture placed into a triangle in the middle of her living room, just stacked. And he
That's so
and he picked
creepy.
up on it right away too. And bringing that closure to other people that are suffering through loss of a loved one. If my abilities can do that, then absolutely I'm on board.
Welcome to the Come and Giggle Show, where laughter always flows. Full of joy and good vibes, let's banish all our woes. Stories and jokes to make you smile. Tune in and let's engage. Join us on this fun ride, turn the page.
Hey, everybody, I'm Nikki Huntsman, and welcome to the Come and Giggle podcast. Today, I have a very special guest, and this is for our Halloween episode. This is Jessica Brown, and she's a psychic, a medium. She does cleansings, exorcisms, tarot readings. She works with Awakening Your Inner Goddess.
Awakening Your Goddess.
Awakening Your Goddess.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to make sure I said it right because I want everybody to be able to find you. So, Awakening Your Goddess, and she has a huge following on Facebook. She's been on TV shows for paranormal stuff, and I'll let you take it away.
So I was actually on the Dead Files. There was a paranormal investigating team here in Colorado Springs. The wife's name was, their names were Jordan and Lori. And I was contacted through Mountain Metaphysical, which is one of the shops that I do guest appearances at, because they had brought something home from an investigation and they couldn't get rid of it.
Oh my gosh.
It was actually pretty gnarly. When I got there, Amy Allen had already done the walkthrough, and she suggested that they get a shaman and a physical medium to come in and do a cleanse on the property. And the metaphysical shop had recommended me. And he was definitely an entity that did not like women.
Oh, God.
So having a paranormal team that was composed of two lesbians definitely did not sit well with him. And so he followed them home and he was tormenting this family.
That's horrible.
Like he was physically attacking one of the women that lived in the home, like lifted her up off the ground and, was bum rushing her and making the objects move.
Is this the same family that also had the porcelain doll, or is that a different experience we'll talk about after?
That's a different experience.
Okay.
Actually, that was the same year though. I feel like the spirits were very active that year. And so I went out and did a cleanse on the house. And when I got there, he was less than thrilled about me being there to get rid of him, obviously. And so I did some cleansing work on their home, and then I also did pretty much, and I mean, not necessarily an exorcism, but I did remove the spiritual attachment that he had formed with both of the women living in the home. And then when I was done, I set a barrier outside of the house with some cascarilla, which is just ground up eggshells, cayenne pepper, and sea salt. Whenever I cleanse a home, it's kind of just my go-to to seal that home so that there's not activity afterwards. Well, then they had caught him on their Comcast security cameras coming to the barrier where I had put that mixture.
Oh my
and like
God.
poofing.
So he was relentless.
Oh yeah, he was trying to get back in. He was very angry and extremely angry that I had banished him. So I get a call back from them and they're like, "Hey, what was that mix you used so we could go around our whole property line so that, they could get him off the property altogether because he couldn't get back in the house, but they didn't want him in their yard either to harass their pets. They had a few dogs.
Yeah.
And like their German Shepherd was definitely reacting to the activity.
Animals are so sensitive to that stuff. They sense it. And same with kids.
Oh, yeah. And I found that while dogs do pick up on spiritual activity, cats are actually the ones you've really got to watch out for. If they're paying attention to something that you're not seeing, typically that's an indicator that you have.
In tune.
Oh, yeah. That's like, okay, you have some spiritual activity going on here, especially if they're circled in on a certain area of the house and they're just out of sorts or being uncomfortable, then you'll know. But I haven't. I am actually still Facebook friends with both of them still. and they haven't had any activity since I did the house cleanse. So
That's huge.
yeah, that's so the goal was to get him out, and get him out I did. Um,
Yeah.
but he tried to follow me home. And I was like, yeah, we're not doing this, sir. But yeah, that was definitely one of the experiences that stood out to me the most. And I'm glad that we were able to get rid of him, because he was definitely a powerful entity. And he would try to present himself as something demonic, even though he was just a,
Regular ghost.
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
And
if I was trapped in the spiritual realm, maybe I'd want to mess with people too. I'm a demon.
let me make myself way scarier, especially to like intimidate a couple of females. You know what I mean? So like
Yeah.
he made himself look demonic, but my spirit guides were like, this is not a demon. This is just a man, a very angry man, a very volatile man, one that probably, abused women in life, to be honest.
Ew.
I want to say that they were investigating like a prison or something when he had followed them home. Don't quote me on that because I could be wrong, but he does seem like the type of entity that probably did some horrible things when he was in
Yeah.
human form. So
He must have if he was like that angry and into harassing people like that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
and so I get my abilities. It's generational for me. So
So you've known your entire life.
pretty
Did
much.
you have to do anything to develop them or tune into them more though? Or did you just naturally flow straight into it?
So to be completely honest, I saw a lot of things as a kid and a teenager that were pretty terrifying, to be completely transparent. So I did try to block it on some levels, right? And it never fully went away, but I will say that when I was in my mid 20s, I had a friend commit suicide, and me and him were really close, and I was the last person that he spoke to before he did it, and it really messed me up, right? And for a while, I was seeing his spirit, and I was having some things happen to me that have never happened to me. Like I was being touched in a sexual way, which there are certain entities that will do that, but typically they are lower vibrational entities. They're not human spirits, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought I was losing my mind because, like, I would wake up sometimes and David would be snoring. David's my husband. And I would have my pants being pulled down and like hands touching me when I know that my husband's asleep. And so
That's
I
so weird.
I spoke to my mom about this, and I told her like, hey, because my mother's very spiritual. She raised me pagan. And I'm like, Mom, have you ever heard of a human spirit doing this? Because I know it's him. And I just, when your intuition, it was off the charts. And my spirit guides kept saying that Nicholas was the one doing it. And so my mom suggested this other medium, Christopher Johansson. He's out of Port St. Lucie, Florida. And I don't typically let other people read me. I'm really funny about that because, you can never be too careful with who you let into your auric field, your energy field. And my spirit guides were like, let him help you. So I do a reading with him. And the first thing he says is, who's the Italian guy who hung himself? So like I knew at that moment he was legit.
real.
He was legitimate. And he goes, he's bald and he has blue eyes. Well, that's Nicholas. And he goes, wait a minute. I've never seen a human spirit touch somebody sexually. You need to get rid of this spirit.
Oh, so it was your friend?
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's so creepy.
and he picked up on it right away too. And so it was absolutely terrifying. And he then proceeds to tell me, why are you not using your gifts? He totally called me out, like read me to filth. And I'm like, fuck. Oh, excuse me. language. So he kind of pushed me to step back into my abilities. It wasn't necessarily by choice at that time. He's like, you came here with these specific gifts so that you could help other people. And that's always been something near and dear to me, especially because I lost my dad in a motorcycle accident when I was 14. So, bringing that closure to other people that are suffering through loss of a loved one, if my abilities can do that, then absolutely I'm on board. And so, around that time, we were moving to Colorado Springs. We were living in Highland, Indiana. And I made my Awakening Your Goddess page, and that was 2018. And my spirit guides were like, just do as we instruct you, and things will be fortuitous for you. Like we'll make sure that your page grows to what it has now.
It's huge.
Oh,
How many followers do you have now? Because I know that you're like insanely.
I'm at
insanely
about
popular.
800,000 followers and like I think 900,000 likes. So
Yeah.
a little over 1 million combined. And literally, I just followed my spirit guides and what they were telling me, like, hey, do live videos and, talk about and be transparent about some of the things that you've gone through on your earth walk, because it's very relatable to other people that are empaths or that are sensitive and may not know how to utilize their abilities properly, because it doesn't come with a manual.
It doesn't. And some people need help. And I like the fact that you even mentor people and you have your classes and you have your monthly things where you do like full moon and new moon manifestation journeys with people. So you help a lot of people out on their spiritual journey.
Um, and that's always really just been the goal. I mean, I get like earlier when you were saying about getting burnt out and taking time to yourself, I will be the first to say that, as sensitives, we are the ones that absorb copious amounts of energy from others. And so I do have to take frequent breaks and kind of shut the world out. I mean, those that are close to me, they don't get offended because they know that I'm not doing it maliciously, that I need to recharge myself. And sometimes that means not talking to anybody for a week and, you know, um, doing
That's something you have to understand when you work with somebody who's spiritual, but also just self employed and a creator and doing so many different things. Because when you're juggling so much, it drains you.
It absolutely does. And, I think that we have to find that balance, because I'm a mom and I'm a grandma before I'm anything else, right? But let's skip to the other story. So I also did an investigation that year, um, and I was bartering with my esthetician. And a lot of people ask me to barter, and I'm always about that. So, like, if we can trade services and I can help somebody with my gifts and they can provide a service, like sometimes I'll trade spell work for my hair getting done or my nails getting done. I'm all for that. So I had an esthetician, and her fiance had brought home an antique mirror from a like flea market, right?
Yeah.
And brought it inside the house without cleansing it. And so about a week after they brought the mirror home, they were starting to experience like a lot of activity. And I'm talking like their Comcast cameras caught the activity on camera. Their kitchen cabinets, they would leave the room, come back in, every cabinet in the kitchen would be opened. All the drawers opened.
Oh, that would be so terrifying.
One time she caught all of her furniture placed into a triangle in the middle of her living room, just stacked. And she's at work and watching it one by one with nobody picking. And I'm talking heavy items of furniture, like, an armoire moved. And like, so then the icing on the cake was her coming home one day, and she had these antique dolls. And you guys, I am terrified of porcelain dolls. And when I was a little girl, my grandmother got me one. And I remember I had a shelf similar to the one that's behind you. And it was across from my bed. And I look up at night one time, and the doll's moving. And I freak out. My mom's, of course, and when you're a Gen Xer, your parents tell you, oh, that's not what you're seeing, or, they make it less than. So I was like, no, you're throwing those dolls away. I do not want them. Like, get them out of my room. I don't care what you do with them. They've got to go. Well, she comes home from work, and written on the wall were the words in red marker, play with me. And the porcelain doll is sitting across from where the writing is, and it's pointing at the freaking wall with a marker by its foot. And mind you, no one was in the house all day. And so she, on my advice, I told her, hey, I'll come out and cleanse. We'll get rid of these spirits. I need you to temporarily get the dolls out of the house, right? And so she locks them in her shed along with the mirror, because that's the conduit. And I go out there to do a cleanse, and I had brought in along an associate. Her name was Rainbow, and she did the house cleansing with me. And when we get there, the night before I came to do the cleansing, she was hearing knocking on the outside of the house, and like it was very active that night. And I start cleansing the house, and I thought we were done, and I had done most of the rooms. And my spirit guides, we go out to that shed, and my guides are like, let's go take a look at this mirror. When we go out there, she had a padlock on the outside of the shed, right? And we open it up. The mirror is no longer laying down like she had left it. She had laid it down and put a cloth over it. It's standing up, no cloth over it. And the dolls are gone. They're not in the shed.
Oh, that's creepy.
They're not in the shed. They were utilizing the mirror as a portal. And they got back into the house, by the way. I shit you not. They were back inside. And I'm trying to figure out where they are, because my spirit guides are like, they're in the daughter's room. And so I go in her daughter's room, and she had one of those like captain beds, and we lift up the plywood, and one of the dolls is underneath her daughter's bed under the plywood. and the other doll was under her bed. And the dolls had portals on them themselves. And so now here I am after cleansing this house and setting the barrier on. I'm stuck with these items that I know have a portal on them. And what do you do with that? You know what I mean? You can't burn them because then you'll release whatever entity is attached. Um,
Isn't there ways to like bind?
so I did a binding and we actually drove them out to the middle of nowhere and we buried them. But the thing is, when we go to get in her car to take those items to the middle of nowhere, her brand new Nissan Pathway or Pathfinder doesn't want to start. It's like giving her all these electrical issues, and kind of like when we were starting our podcast right now, when it's like spirit was trying to prevent us from going and disposing of these items, because of course they don't want to be stuck somewhere where they can't attach to someone else and wreak havoc. That's their purpose, you know. And the funniest thing is she had used her fiance's grandmother's crucifix from Italy over that mirror when she had put it into the shed. Well,
Oh,
when we
man.
found the mirror standing up, the crucifix was nowhere to be found.
Did
Wasn't
she
in the
ever
shed.
find it?
So about 6 months later, she's sitting in her vanity getting ready and she hears this loud thud. She goes in her guest bedroom and the crucifix is sitting in the middle of the room on the floor.
That's so creepy.
Insane. They moved shortly after. They moved to California. But from what I understand, they never had activity again after that day that we took the dolls out and buried them. But I mean, you have to be so careful what you bring into your home.
Oh, I'm a thrift shopper. I get so many used items, but I also sage and cleanse my house regularly, and I try to make sure I cleanse myself and other things. I try to keep it like that.
Well, I mean, certain items, you really don't want to bring them in until you cleanse them. Like anything that may have been attached to someone that may have passed in a violent or,
Yeah,
you know
and
what
you don't know when you go to the thrift store.
You really don't. But mirrors, I always suggest cleaning a mirror. You never want to bring a mirror inside until you do some work to cleanse it, because mirrors are utilized as portals sometimes, you know. And that's why,
Yeah.
like, when someone passes, my mother's from Lithuania. In that culture, you cover your mirrors when someone passes because, you know, they say it can trap
There's
a
also
spirit.
spirituality things that say you should never have one pointing at your bed or other places because it can cause infidelity or it can cause issues with your sleep or
yeah.
issues with them messing with you in your sleep.
Or a
So,
mirror facing a mirror that opens a portal.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I've had a client in Florida, and I've done readings for her. We're going on like 8-9 years now. And in one of her houses, it was just the way that the contractors had, you know, built
What if
the
it's like those
bathroom.
three-way vanity mirrors that like adjust?
Oh, that's okay.
And
but
they
like,
kind of like can point at each other though, the two outer wing ones.
yeah, those ones are fine. It's when you like
Okay.
directly. So say you had a mirror on this wall, and you don't want to
And
put a mirror
then-
on the wall that's facing that because it can open a portal and that can bring in spiritual activity.
That's good to know.
And believe it or not, limestone is another thing. Like some of the older houses, when I lived in Illinois, our house was built in the early to mid 1800s, and our basement was limestone.
And limestone attracts
It's a
spirits?
conduit for spiritual activity, actually. It amplifies spiritual activity.
I did not know that. Did you know that they recommend lime for like coops and barns and stuff? I've never bought it, but I've thought about buying it for my chicken coop. I'm not going to do that if it's a spiritual conduit.
Well, I mean, and a lot of those older houses were built with limestone basements. I mean,
Yeah.
and the house that we lived in, that was probably the peak of like spiritual activity for me as a kid, because my dad had just died. My mom moves us to the middle of nowhere in these cornfield little podunk town, and it's called Manhattan, Illinois. There was like 500 people in the town at that time, and she moves us in this house that was built in the 1800s. And from the moment we moved in, I was hearing voices, and it wasn't like normal. Like typically when someone's trying to get my attention on the spiritual side of things, they'll communicate messages to me and I'll hear them, and it's telepathically. But in that house, there were so many speaking at once that I couldn't tell what they were saying because they were all talking over each other.
Oh, man.
So one time my mom asked me to go in the basement, which is that creepy limestone basement, and get her Christmas decorations. And I'm down there, and my spirit guides direct me to the corner of the basement. And I open up this box, and there was crucifixes and holy water and purple robes. The Catholic Church owned the house before we did, and they performed exorcisms in my house,
Oh,
which was why there were so many voices at once, because there were so many spirits in that house that were trapped. And that house was where I saw the Hat Man. Everybody that I've spoken to on my Awakening Your Goddess page that has seen him, we all kind of see him the same. He's a shadow person.
That
And
has like the hat with the brim.
yep. And I saw him in that house all the time, and he never interacted with me.
They just kind of stand there in the corner and watch you.
Yeah, it was like a creepy, pervy vibe, like just watching all the time, just like a watcher. He never interacted. He never directly, maliciously, like threatened or
It's
made
just
contact.
creepy though. It gives you that weird, eerie feeling of being watched.
All the time, just eyes on you constantly. And that was my first experience with him. And I can't tell you, when we moved out of that house, I was so happy. Like, my mother worked a lot and my dad had just died. So it was me, and I'm the older of the siblings. And I was like 15 at the time. So my sister was 11. And I was taking care of her a lot, and my mom was never home. And at night, when that everything got dark, that house was the worst. Like, we've seen things levitate in that house. Like, me and my sister and my mom sitting on the couch, and my mom has those wooden coasters that everybody
Yeah.
had in the 80s. And this was like mid 90s. And we watched them levitate in the air and start spinning around one by one. And they're like in the air, levitating and spinning around. And me and my sister ran outside, and we waited for my mom to get home on the front porch. We're like, nope, not going back inside tonight.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Yeah,
I'd
it was
be freaking out too. I've
pretty
never
horrible.
seen anything levitate, but I have had spiritual experiences like seeing shadow people when I was little, and also like playing with Ouija boards, and then having my computer randomly, it had the term lobotomy pulled up. Like it got pulled up on my search drive and on my engine and stuff. Like I didn't type anything in, nobody was at my house. Had that happen one time, and I remember playing with the Ouija board with my friend down here in this living room years ago, and the whole room like getting really, really cold when it was like 90 degrees outside. And it was really hot in the house before we played with it, and just weird stuff like that. Nothing major like the levitation, but I've had my experiences.
But that's an experience in itself. And like
Yeah.
at that time, my little sister had the CD player that, like, it would just like, it wasn't like how now with technology, like, it just would put like the radio station or like what CD or what number or whatever. And it said Monique one time. Like, first off, you can't
Yeah.
program your name into that. You know what I
Certain
mean?
things like that, it's so weird. Like the lobotomy thing being pulled up and stuff, the definition and the word and everything just straight up being pulled up and looked up on my Mac.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
And that could have been a spirit that experienced that.
I could have, but seeing stuff like that, I'm like, what the fuck?
Seriously, there's only been a few times where I've been legitimately scared like that. And that house was a lot of that experience. Like, as I've gotten older, I've learned a lot of ways to protect my energy. And so I don't typically see as much. Like, when my dad first died, I was young, I was gifted, and I was vulnerable. And I had this entity that attached to me, and it felt very malicious. It never showed itself to me particularly, but I would know when it was in the room because
Just
I
by
could
the
feel
energy.
it. Everything would shift, and it would feel like electric in the room, and my left ear would ring obnoxiously loud, and it wouldn't stop. And that entity, I could feel like breathing in my face, but I'd
How
never
did you get
see
that
it.
one to go away?
You know, it's funny because I don't remember how it went away, to be completely honest. Like, it followed me for a while, and that was like when I was really depressed and sad and just in a really dark place.
Maybe it's when your vibration changed. It
I was,
just,
I think that once I started healing and, the shock of like my father's passing and the things I was going through kind of dissipated a little bit.
Yeah.
It let off its hold on me. I mean, I feel like when you're in that vulnerable state of mind, those
It's
entities,
drawn to you more.
yeah. And then when you're empowered and you're in a positive mindset, they really don't have any power over you. So they don't stay around. I didn't particularly cleanse it. But then again, back then, my mother was very spiritual, and she was always doing things to like cleanse the house and cleanse
So
me and my
maybe she
sister.
helped get rid of it
Yeah,
too.
I think that it might have been her, honestly, because my spirit guides are like, well, it's that, but it's also your mom. Like,
Yeah.
and I would tell her about it, and the fact that it really scared me because it just felt malicious. I mean, and again, I never saw it, so
Yeah,
I
but
just
you
I
can
knew it
read
was there.
energy.
Yep. And the
Ah,
fact that it
boy.
didn't show me was scarier.
Speaking of things though, and energy and good vibes. So I have this really cool Grisly Cosmic Black craft cola, and it's aged bourbon and gourmet cola, and it's sugar free. And the creator of Invader Zim, the TV show on Nickelodeon back in the day, is
Yeah.
the one who created this brand of alcohol. And he gave me free things for the show to drink and to share with my guests in exchange for promotion. So thank you, Grisly Cosmic Black, for the drinks. I appreciate it. And my guests do as well. They're really good. And they're only 6% alcohol, so you're not going to get shit-faced. It's like having a beer, but it's a Jack and Coke pretty much. It's a
Awesome.
bourbon and Coke.
Yeah, when I get back home before we go to the karaoke tonight, I'll have to try it.
Definitely
It's
do.
funny, I was drinking whiskey sours last night. But yeah, so that experience in itself was kind of one of the things that molded, you know, me stepping into my own abilities. And now I do try to teach others and, offer classes and just share some of the knowledge that's
You
been
offer a
passed down
lot
to
of
me.
guidance, which is huge. I know I definitely appreciate it because I've gone to you for like cleansing ideas and different things. I actually did the swifting yesterday, so hopefully
That's gonna
that's all
shift energy
smooth.
big time.
It'll shift it. But yeah, you've taught me
And
some
I
things.
feel like that's something that's so important for people to understand. If you're going to see a medium or any kind of spiritual healer, they should be guiding you on ways that you can unfuck your life. Like they should be helping you fix things. Like if your
Yeah.
reader or the person you're going to is offering you services and only as a paid thing and isn't teaching you or showing you things that you can do to implement yourself, find a different reader.
Yeah, because
Seriously.
there are some people are like, oh, well, I'll cleanse you, but it's going to cost you $500.
Oh yeah.
You know?
I had a client recently. She paid a practitioner close to $5,000 to help her like with her love life, and she saw no results. So that's very disheartening. And you just have
Yeah.
to always listen to your gut. Like Richie, the elder that I do my shamanic healings with, he always says your gut doesn't lie, your body doesn't lie to you.
Also, do your research because you can usually tell if a reader's real or not just by the way that they talk to you, the services they offer, the prices. And you can usually find reviews online and you can see whether or not they're legit or whether there's complaints.
Yeah, for sure.
Do your research though. Don't get scammed. There's a lot of
Absolutely.
scammers.
Absolutely. And listen to your gut. If you get a bad vibe from somebody, 9 times out of 10, that's, and sometimes that can be trauma that's guiding us, right? But if you're sitting with it, like say you've done meditation, that's one thing I always tell my clients, like guided meditation is a game changer. You can implement that to connect with your higher self and your spiritual team. And if this person doesn't sit right with you, then listen to that. Because typically spirit is trying to show you like, hey, this isn't for you, but let's manifest something that is. You know what I mean?
It's definitely needed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like right.
Meditation, salt baths, candle cleansings, Palo Santo, sage, all of that. It's huge. It's
Oh, yeah.
very important. And egg cleanses, they help out a lot too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean there's so many things, and we live at a time where we literally have knowledge at our fingertips. You can Google, and even if I don't, like for me, I don't really trust Google, so I do DuckDuckGo. But you can look things up yourself, and
And
you
you
know,
can double check things. You can check multiple sources. So if one gives you the wrong info, you can get the right info. You just have to double check before you act on things.
absolutely, absolutely, and there's a lot of energy healers that are willing to share things that we've experienced to help others, or knowledge that we've acquired, whether it be through ancestral or just from doing our research or life lessons. Because I feel like stepping into my 40s, it was something that kind of clicked in me that I'm like, okay, while I am stepping into this crone stage of life, which is hard for us to accept as women, right? Like we're getting older, but I'm also so grateful because not everybody gets to make it to that stage of life. Or even with the crone stage, you acquire so much knowledge because you've literally walked through and navigated all these things on your earth walk. And I mean, there's no better teacher than experience.
Exactly. So if you're getting out there and putting yourself out there more and trying more things, you're going to learn more and you're going to be further advanced.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So out of everything that you've done over the years, out of those two experiences, like other than those two, what would you say is one of your craziest ones?
So I did an actual exorcism. So I remove attachments from clients all the time, but this was a little different. So I have a friend who is a shaman as well, and she was doing some work to remove some demonic attachments from one of her clients, and she was afraid. I'm going to be honest. She calls me and says, "Hey, Jess, this is a little out of my pay grade. like, this entity caused a car accident and is trying to literally physically harm me.
Oh,
And it warned me that if I continue, it is going to harm me and my children. So will you take it on? And at first I had to think about it because I'm like, do I really want to do this? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if it's causing you that much chaos, what's it going to do? And I know that I'm divinely protected. Trust me, if I wasn't in my 20s, I tried everything to take myself out. I did. And I would not be here if my dad's like working overtime on the other side to make sure that I make it to the ripe old age that I'm supposed to, because I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. And so I sat with it for a little while, and my spirit guides are like, who else is going to help her? So I take it on, and I get to my friend's house, and she says, I'm leaving while you do this cleanse. She introduced me to the client. The client is now deceased. I found that out about a year ago on Facebook. But I do this cleansing work on her, and I have her on a massage table, and I'm, using a pendulum, and I'm going over her energy centers. And in my head, I'm talking to Archangel Michael, and I'm saying the Archangel Michael prayer. I'm pretty eclectic. I believe in a lot of different things. And I do work with the archangels when I'm doing sessions like that. And so she contorted in a way that is only comparable to like scary movies, like
Like
The Exorcist,
Exorcist.
dude. And she like twists her head back and she says, ancient scripture and Catholic religion will not make me leave you, cunt. And I'm like, what? Because I wasn't even saying the prayer out loud. I was saying it in my mind's eye. So this entity was telepathically listening to everything. And then I hear giggling in the corner of the room behind us, and we're alone in the house.
Oh my God.
So I wanted to run out. I'm not going to lie. I'm human like everybody else. That shit scared me. Not going to lie. But my spirit guides are like, if you stop right now, it's only going to be worse for her. So you have to finish. So I finished that session. She was good for a while. And here's the thing. She was an alcoholic. Drinkers typically tend to have attachments to lower vibrational spirits. That's why they call it spirits. I mean, it opens you up to some of those frequencies, and those entities are just waiting to wreak havoc. They are. And so she continued to drink, and I did warn her, like, hey, I'm not judging. This is your pony, your rodeo, got nothing to do with me. But if you continue to do this, you're going to continue to get attachments. It's just the way it goes. And seeing as how some of the entities that were attached to you are pretty powerful, you might not want to do that. So I do another cleanse on her, and I bring my husband in, and I'm talking to him about it because my husband is Luciferian. He works with deities that I do not work with. And I just wanted his take on things because I'm like, listen, these are some pretty powerful entities, and I don't understand why they keep coming back specifically to her and why I'm having a hard time removing them. Well, turns out her dad had signed a contract with a demonic entity, and he did not fulfill his end of the bargain. So they're going to go for the firstborn, and she's the firstborn.
Oh.
And sadly, I'm quite certain she carried that affliction until she passed. I found out recently that she passed away, and I don't know any of her circles, so I can't ask how, but I'm pretty sure that it was self-inflicted.
So it was probably because she was
Yeah.
still being haunted. And
Yep. And it's sad because, underneath all that, she was a great person, and that was one of the experiences that stuck with me the most out of all the things I've ever done. That one was,
I could see why, because that would be so, so, so deep.
and it was sad because, as a energy worker and as a healer, you always want to help, like it's just kind of our nature to help others, and
You
feeling
want
like,
to, and you can't always,
Right.
unfortunately.
this was one of the first situations where I'd encountered something like that, where, my husband's deity that he works with is named Azazel. And my husband's like, Azazel told me that this is what's going on and there's nothing you can do to help her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's terrible and terrifying. Like as a parent, how could you do that to your kid? You know what I mean? Like knowing that your kid is afflicted because of a choice that you made. And
Maybe he wasn't planning on having kids when he made the deal.
I'm not sure, to be honest. Yeah.
I
I'm
guess
not
it
sure.
just depends on what point in his
and
life.
and it was for financial and material success, and he did make it. She was an heiress, so her family did have a lot of abundance, and her father was rich, and he
Yeah.
got what he wanted, but at what cost? You know what I mean?
At that point, it's not worth it.
Absolutely not. And I haven't experienced many people that have actually done blood contracts with demonic entities, but it is out there, and it is something to be very aware of. making those choices. One might think it's insignificant in that moment, or maybe it's mumbo jumbo until you're actually afflicted and that
And then you're
decision haunts
stuck.
you. And yeah, you're stuck. And then what do? You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it's a hard decision to make.
yeah.
And yeah.
Definitely something to stay away from. Like, I don't even do that in a joking manner. Like, no, selling my soul or none of that. No, thank you. I mean, it's tainted, but it's mine.
Exactly. I'll never sell my soul, only my whole.
I'm gonna have to use that one. I'm totally stealing that, Nikki. That's gonna be my new catchphrase.
I love that so
It's
much.
fucking great.
The craziest things always follow you and happen in your life, I've noticed.
Yeah, they do. And I asked my spirit guides joking, but kind of serious. Like, was I like Jack the fucking Ripper in a previous life? Like, what did I do that was so bad that I accrued all of this karmic debt? Like, because I have been bent over with no lube most of my life. So I'm like, I must have really pissed somebody off, right? And they're like, no, actually, no. They're like, you put these things into your earth walk so that you could help other people through the experiences that you've navigated. And it makes sense when you think of it like that, but it also is like, okay, so like, was I on the other side thinking I'm like Billy Badass or something? Because I put a lot of shit into this earth walk and I've gone through a lot of things for a 44-year-old. I know people that are twice my age that haven't navigated a quarter of what I have. And I'm like, this is not fun. Like, hopefully
Yeah.
this will be my last incarnation, though. I'm really working on a few things my spirit guides have told me that I need to navigate and conquer before I can level up and not have to come back to this shithole. So,
Yeah, I have no clue how many times I've been here or how many more times I have to go, but I'm hoping that I won't have to for too many more because it's a pain in the ass being on Earth.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I'm gonna choose a less ghetto dimension next time. Like, what do you mean? We can incarnate in other places where like there's nothing but love and honesty and telepathy and it's beautiful and radiant. Why would we choose this? And my guides are like, again, because you wanted to learn and grow on a soul level, and you can't do that without those negative experiences. Which makes a lot of sense to me, but at the same time, again, why would I choose this? So, like,
Yeah, I
what
don't get it either.
what did I have to prove? Like,
Just sounds like maybe you were bored with the last one you chose. Maybe you chose an easier path last time and it was like, yeah, that was a cakewalk. Let's try something more extreme.
right. And I'm always an overachiever. So I'm sure that that's what it was. Like, we'll
Yeah.
just put it all into this one lifetime. And just it'll be the lifetime of all lifetimes. It's fine.
Hey, it works. Whatever you got to do.
Right.
Well, before we wrap, I would love to have you sign the wall. And then I want you to shout out all of the pages you want people to follow. And after we do that, I'll do my little sign off.
Perfect. So you guys can reach me on Facebook at Awakening Your Goddess. I am also Awakening Your Goddess on TikTok, although I suck at TikTok and I don't produce a lot of content there, not gonna lie. But my Awakening Your Goddess page on Facebook is literally where you'll find me. So and
And
then
she's great for spiritual guidance and spell work and manifestation stuff. And anytime you need a tarot reading or somebody to cleanse, heal, or do Reiki, she's your
I'm
girl.
your girl. All right, where am I gonna sign at? I see John Brown. I gotta sign Jessica Brown. So I hate my handwriting.
That's okay. I think it's pretty. Cute. I love it. Thank you so much for coming on my show,
Thank
Jessica.
you for having me.
And I hope you enjoy your drink and we'll have fun at karaoke later.
Yeah, we will.
Awesome.
Thank you, honey.
I love you so much. Thank you for watching Come and Giggle. I hope that you'll watch again soon. I'm going to make like a banana and split.